slowly getting out of the paralyzing phase of art block that I've been in for such a long time. One thing that stopped me from making art was the fear of not being perfect. In art school, I was never perfect. I was rarely even good enough. But I want to make art even if it's bad. So I came up with the idea of this zine series titled Indulgence, meaning I can make whatever I want, however I want, even if it doesn't turn out well. And I have so many ideas. I'm a pretty sentimental person, always looking back at the past. So I wanted to make my first zine that honored the person that I was in art school. Those 4 years were such a rough and confusing time. And I have this habit of looking back on all my decisions with regret because I'm not where I want to be. But I still find myself missing that place. I miss the weather and the solitude and the energy of being surrounded by artists and the open horizon of possibility, even if I wasted it. That's why the scene is called Bittersweet, because that's how I feel when I remember it. I still think about it a lot. I basically think about it all the time. I wanted to fill the scene with personal moments that were really important to me in my time at art school. These moments are so vivid in my memory, and most of them are moments of solitude. The first painting is of the street in front of my dorm, after the biggest snowstorm I experienced in my time there. I had forgotten to get any food for myself, so I had to venture outside. It was more snow than I'd ever seen in my life, and people were playing and sledding down the middle of the street. After I completed my mission to find food, I walked home, and the streets were so silent, and everything was sparkling and white and cold. The year before that, I lived in a dorm on a pretty high floor. This was toward the end of the COVID lockdown, and it was one of the most miserable years I spent there because I was so cooped up in my room alone. And I'd often see geese flying in formation outside my window, and all I could think was that I wished I could go with them. They seemed so free to act on instinct. They could go anywhere, and I felt trapped, and I felt guilty for feeling like that. One of my favorite things to do was to take walks. It was a very walkable city, very different from where I'm from. There was this one particular white picket fence surrounding this pretty little blue house that I always loved walking past. I remember the broken bricks under my feet. I remember how amazed I was that there were bricks on the sidewalk instead of slabs of concrete. It was like a picture-perfect little house. This next image is of a beach I went to only once, with a friend I no longer speak to. We just drifted away from each other, but it's something that's happened to me so many times. It's so sad every time I think of the friends I've lost just from time passing. I'm always tempted to analyze my actions. This image represents bittersweetness for me, because I was happy then, but it's kind of a sad memory now. I made this zine as a way to honor the feelings I have about that period of my life. I don't want to look at every choice I make with regret, or to be paralyzed. I want to move on and make something new. This is the first zine I've ever made, and it looks a little rough, but I'm glad I made something, and it's meaningful to me. That's really all that matters. A familiar house, a landmark seen in passing. A silent, sparkling, snowy night. A window to a life of ultimate freedom. And a reminder of time relentlessly passing. A stolen snapshot of missed opportunity. I return again to these bittersweet memories.